Hi. The Good morning. How are you? Welcome to my channel. I'm Amber. I'm an OBM and a soap and body care maker, and I and a bookkeeper. And we are gonna talk about a lot of things today, but I really wanted to connect with you and just kind of talk through something that happened to me last night and kind of bled into this morning. I was frantically looking through Facebook and trying to find something last night. And at the end, like, I got the information that I needed, and then I um I thought to myself as I was going to bed, why on earth did I do that? Right? Um what on earth is happening here? Because it was something that didn't make sense, right? I had no need to, I was trying to find someone and see if they were okay or alive or whatever. And this wasn't a person who had been, this isn't what we're going to talk about. I'm going to briefly, it wasn't anybody I should have been looking for. It wasn't anybody I should have wanted to talk to. And I didn't message them. I don't want to speak to them, but for some reason inside my brain, I needed to know what was happening. And I went to bed going, what in the world was that about? And I figured it out this morning. There was something that I needed to heal. Something had sparked in me in the last 2 weeks. I saw a post on line and it kind of triggered something within me. And I needed to heal something. And so, what I want to encourage you to do is sometimes it's okay to go down rabbit holes. Sometimes it's okay to um, search for something so hard just so that you can heal that little piece inside of you. And denying that could prolong your suffering. Does that make sense? So I got home and this morning, and that might be why my eyes are a little puffy. Like, I just started sobbing. I just started sobbing and realized that I needed to forgive myself and forgive them for what they had done. And um, spent the morning early this morning before I got out of bed doing a ritual where I called my power back to me. And it's been years. I've been trying to do this for years. And I'm so relieved that I am through this portion of my healing of that particular traumatic period of time in my life. And I really think that it's going to do wonders for my relationship. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We are here, however, to talk about your client management system. And I do think that these two things are related, right? I feel like the way that we show up in the world is really dependent on how we have been treated in the world, right? So if we've gone through something traumatic, understanding how that trauma impacts the rest of our life is very, very important. I'm not a trauma coach, I'm not a trauma therapist. If you have suffered trauma, I highly recommend that you reach out to a trauma-informed therapist. And believe me, there are some therapists who are not. So if you are in need of a trauma trained, trauma informed therapist, make sure that you specify that at the outset. Lest you might find somebody like I did in my 20s who actually made me considerably worse. and made me doubt my own brain. So anyway, but that really impacts the way that we show up in the world. It impacts how we interact with clients. It impacts how we deal with rejection and all of the things. All of those things are impactful. So it is important. Anyway, but we are going to talk about the client management workflow, and in particular, one of the three of the main things that you need in order to create this client management workflow and actually work with clients. And I'm going to talk to you about one program that I think you could utilize to handle many, if not all, of these things. Okay. And I do think that there is I am a firm believer in bootstrapping. I'm a firm believer in growing as you go. So I don't think that this solution is for everybody right out the gate. But once you are a little bit more further along and you've got some clients under your belt, you understand what you need as far as contracts and forms and all of that good stuff, um, then this solution makes sense. But I would not recommend it straight out the gate to anyone, just simply because we're going to talk about Dubsado. And the reason I don't think that it's the right solution, or any of these all-in-one platforms are the right solution right out the gate, is simply because you don't even know what you need. So you're going to spend a crap ton of money a month or a year. And if you have the funds to do that, go ahead by all means. But I do think that if you are tight on funds, there are other options that will get you where you need to go, without breaking the bank when you don't have the income coming in to support it. Okay. Okay, so what does that look like? Three things that you absolutely must have. There are more, and I will leave a link to a client management workflow checklist that I've created. It is a paid offering, but it is literally $7. So it will kind of give you a list of what you need and give you space to actually write out what you're going to be using for each of these, or type out, because it's a Google Doc. So you absolutely can use it. Below that, it actually has a checklist with actual steps for creating your basic setups for each of these programs. And it gives you a beginning situation, or a beginning checklist, to kind of give you an overall broad view of like, here's what you need to do first. Then you will figure out what apps you're using for those things, if you need these things at all. And then it's going to get you to walk through the actual setups for those things. I think it's really comprehensive. It's worth a lot more than $7. But I wanted to make it accessible. Actually, is it 7 or 9? It's $7 or $9. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think that it's worth buying. It is worth more than what I'm asking for it, but I wanted to make it accessible for everyone. That said, the three things you need, there is room for a lot more, but the three things you absolutely must have to run a business are digital signatures, because you're going to need that for your contracts. An invoicing or payment software requirement, like requirement. You have to be able to process payments. And no, you cannot use Venmo for this. Venmo has it in their terms of service that if you use their basic platform for business purposes, they can hold your money. So let's say you have a $5,000 contract, Venmo flags it and says, oh crap, oh, this is business. I'm not going to give you their money. I'm not going to give you your money. and potentially the client doesn't get their money back either. And so overall, everybody's just out of money, and the client's going to be upset, and so will you. Okay. And you might be forced to perform because you have a contract, even though you haven't gotten your money, and you won't be getting your money. Okay. So don't use Venmo, especially for large contracts. Just don't do that. They make a Venmo for business. I will tell you, it is a huge pain in the ass to do the bookkeeping for Venmo, like humongous pain in the ass. And I don't recommend it at all for anything really, but it is the cheapest option. If you're doing your own bookkeeping, it might be worth it. If you're not using a software like QuickBooks or Xero, it might be okay. I hope that it seems to be catching up. Okay, I was like glitching out for a second. I'm like, gosh, I hope it doesn't record like that. Okay, so digital signatures, a payment processor, and third most important option or thing that you absolutely must have, I really think, is a meeting software. I'm going to give you four actually. Email platform. You need to have not an email marketing platform, not an email service provider. This is literally like a Gmail, a Google Workspace, which I would really suggest because it's more professional. These are the options that you have available to you, and I highly recommend them. If you take the option to use a Google Workspace and you find that you need something like Zoom, I would pay the extra $6 a month because it'll be about $13 a month, and you will have access to Google Meetings with recordings. So if that's something that you need, go that route, because the option through Zoom is much more expensive, and you'll still be paying for Google Workspace anyway, and it's just not worth paying for both of them. Okay. Um, As far as your digital signatures, I would suggest Signwell. If you go back and watch older videos, I recommended HelloSign for a while. HelloSign was recently bought out by Dropbox, and they no longer have a free plan. And quite frankly, my experience with Dropbox is very challenging. It's very challenging. So it's just not one that I would recommend at all. Because all of the ease of use that you would have had when it was HelloSign is likely gone. Not to mention the fact that it's now expensive. Signwell does give you a couple. It actually is better than HelloSign because it gives you a template, the option for a template, and it gives you everything that you got with HelloSign, which is great. And I think you actually get 5 free signatures, and you only got 3 with HelloSign. So good news there. And your invoicing and payment processor, honestly, I would say PayPal for smaller invoices. Once you get above the like $1,000 mark, I would highly suggest switching to something like Stripe or Square or something to that effect. Simply because, and honestly, I probably, no, they each have their problems at times, but they are both reliable, and they've been reliable for years and years and years. So I highly recommend Square for that, or Stripe. If you are doing a recurring payment, you can do it through Stripe, and it's pretty easy. Make sure that you have a document that says that you can charge their credit card every month if it's a recurring payment. So those are my recommendations. Dubsado will do all of that and way more. But like I said, when you're first starting out, you don't know what you need, and that doesn't always work out. And so, and it is a lot to set up, which is why I'm offering Dubsado setups for people, because you really don't have time for that. You should be focusing your efforts on the work that you're supposed to be doing, and I highly recommend you do that. Um, at some point, I will start doing Dubsado tutorials for you and walkthroughs and things like that, and showing you how to make things to use within Dubsado. All of that's going to come, and I'll probably have some templates through Canva and things like that eventually. But for now, all I'm going to say is that if you're a little bit further along, like you are hitting 5-figure months regularly, you might be ready for Dubsado. And the other thing that I would say about that is, if you're planning on using the software for your invoicing, because you can do that in Dubsado, and you're doing more than, let's say, 5 contracts a month, or getting regular amounts of leads coming in on the regular, then it might be time for Dubsado. It might make sense to go through that and have those automations where it's sending out forms and sending out information and setting up meetings automatically for you. But if you're not there yet, it's completely okay to not pay that price. Okay. All right, guys. I hope you have a good day. I hope that this helps you. If it does, leave me a comment below. If you're interested in the client management workflow checklist, let me know also. Or I'm sorry, I'll leave a link to buy that in the description box below. Like I said, it's going to walk you through and tell you exactly what you need to do. And then it's going to walk you through to actually figure out what programs you need. And then it's actually going to give you space to write out what programs you're using for all the basic things, which is way more than what we've covered in this video. And it's also going to then walk you through the setup process for each of these, and or give you kind of a general idea of what you're needing to do in order to actually get this set up and ready to be used. We are very close to, just a side note about soaps and body butters and things of that nature. I'm very close to launching with that. Like I told you before, I can't record myself making things because I don't trust it. And I tried to use CapCut the other day, and you have to speed everything up before you get into CapCut. I couldn't find a spot to actually speed up the thing, and nobody wants to watch a video that long. So there's a lot that has to happen before I can actually initiate a channel for Moonlit Magnolia. Like, things were working okay until my phone started acting up, and I've been having, on top of now my phone acting up, I've been having problems with space and being able to actually utilize my editing software and things like that. So there's just a lot of roadblocks, and I have done everything that I can think to actually get this working, and none of it is working. So I'm doing my best. I'll figure it out. But for now, let's focus on this stuff. And I hope you have a good day. If you are in the market for an OBM, I would love to talk with you about, your needs and how I can help you. If you are looking for Dubsado setups, I will leave a link to a form so that we can connect and chat. All right, guys, I hope you have a good day. I'll talk to you later. See ya. Bye.